This is your host, Jason Snellgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Coonhound Collective podcast. Thank you for joining me today. Today, I'm once again solo, so just bear with me. I've got a topic I want to touch on a little bit today, and something that me and Brett may talk about when he gets back from his walker dog adventures. I think he's out hunting a pup out of Shack right now. Shack looked like he's reproducing pretty good. He's got some dogs and some winter circles, so I'm sure Brett's probably out there hunting him a backwoods Shack pup right now to hunt. So more to come on that maybe. He's kind of been MIA here last week or so. But I'm recording this on Sunday. I waited to record this to, if you haven't already heard, to go over some of the winners from this weekend with United Kennel Club. And we'll start with the bench show. I did get to watch, somebody had posted some Facebook Live, and so if you go through Facebook, if you have Facebook, you can go through there and see a little bit of the bench show. And your 2024 UKC Bench Show World Champion, National Grand Champion, Wabash River Lost Highway, Andy Emery, Keith Emery. Congratulations on your big win this weekend. Takes a lot of work to get a dog ready. To be able to do that, I've tried, and I don't have the patience. And your opposite sex, 2024 opposite sex winner is Grand Champion, Blue Power Rockin' Ruby, Diane Stein, West Stein. Congratulations to both of them. They are your winners for your bench show world champion, and I'm sure everybody that was there at the show put in a lot of work, a lot of hard work. Like I said, I've had a couple of bench show people on here, and we've got some people on the hook to do some more bench show stuff with us. So we are gonna touch on that some more in a future episode when we get somebody smarter than me on here. Because I can just tell you, I've tried it. I don't have the patience to do it. So moving on to our night hunt. Man, what a cast, and what to say. There was a dog in the cast that sire was a world champion, and then 2 of the final 3 dogs was out of Backwoods Shack. So congratulations to those sire owners, Cheyenne Cummings and J.R. Gray. So if you're listening to this, there looks like about 11 or 1,200 viewers last night on YouTube. When I clicked on it and watched it, I did not get to watch the whole cast, but looked like an exciting cast what I did get to see. Congratulations to Fickens Backwoods Fergie, owned and handled by Randy Ficken. They are your 3rd place winners. This next young man has been on the podcast before, and I've sat down and interviewed Braxton. I've hunted against Braxton Wheels on many occasions. Most of the time, he is the one that comes out on top. I guess that means he's probably packing a better dog than I am, but he was hunting Grand Night Champion Spring Rivers Joe, owned by Vic Hurley, and Braxton Wheels, handled by Braxton. And I'm just going to real quick speak a little bit more about Braxton. Like I said, I've hunted with him. He hunts here out of my local club a little bit, and travels over from Oklahoma, him and JB Jones. So congratulations to those guys. I know Braxton puts in a lot of work. He hunts a lot. He hunts hard. So well deserved. Come up a little short, but he did come up in 2nd place. And he's 15 years old. So this is not the last time you'll see Braxton in a winter circle, and I'm sure that he will have the title of world champion beside his name at some point in his career. He really puts in the work and works hard, and it showed off this weekend by placing 2nd in the UKC World Championship Night Hunt. So congratulations to Braxton and Vic Hurley getting to that final cast and placing 2nd. I know that you've got to be pleased with that. I know Braxton likes to win, and I'm sure he wanted wanted that world championship win. But buddy, like I told you in the text message, just enjoy the moment. You made it to where a lot of grown men just want to get into the top 108 sometimes, and here you are at 15, made it to the final three and placed second in UKC World. So my hat's off to you, buddy. Congratulations. Keep working hard, and I know one day we'll be talking about Braxton Wheels, the world champion, no matter what dog you're leading, because you do put in the work. And now, your 2024 UKC World Night Hunt Champion, Grand Night Champion, PR's Little Lacey, owned by Jack Maggard and handled by Casey Maggard. Congratulations, guys. You done a fine job. What I seen of the final cash, your dog got in there and got treed and had a coon. That's what it takes to win. So, congratulations to all three of these guys. What an accomplishment to get into the final three. Like I said, I know people, myself included, that just trying to get to that top 100. And sometimes that can be a challenge. So to get to where you three guys are, my hat's off to you. So congratulations. And I will say, like I said earlier, the Fergie dog and Joe are both dogs off of Backwoods Shack, Cheyenne Cummins. So congratulations, Cheyenne and Jennifer Cummins, on that, getting 2 pups out of Shack in the final 3 of the UKC World Hunt. And the Lacey dog is out of Willie, J.R. Gray's Willie. So congratulations to him. World champion, produced a world champion. So I think both of those guys have something to be proud of. They have pups out of their dogs in the final 3, and Shack with 2 of the 3. So I think that speaks volumes, and that may be why Brett's out hunting him a Shack pup right now. I'm sure he's got his eye on one somewhere. Or I don't know, maybe he's going to crossbreed something and get him one. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to talk more to him about that whenever we can get him rounded back up on the show. I'm kind of positive you won't hear him this week. I don't believe you'll hear him next week. And I'm not even sure about the 3rd week, but maybe. We'll see. We'll see how the show lines up, because I know I've got one interview lined up for sure that you are for sure going to want to hear. If I started rattling names off of dogs, it's impressive. And I don't have my sheet in front of me because I've been doing some research. Been having to step up and take Brett's job and do some research on some of these guys. And I will say this, back in this gentleman that I'm going to interview, back in the early 90s, had a dog that he won, I think, $13,000 on, and none of it was at a world hunt. So, and that ain't it. He's in the top 100 of PKC all-time money-winning handlers with over $100,000 won. So it's going to be an interview you're going to want to hear. There's going to be a lot of dogs discussed that if I started naming names, you would know them right off. But just stay tuned. That will be coming hopefully next week. If we can get everything worked out and finished and finalized, you will be hearing that interview next week here on the podcast. So, with that being said, I'm running solo, and we're winding down September. It's hard to believe. It's been a hot, dry summer here in Missouri. We did get a little rain yesterday, and so I'm sure with that, cooler temperatures are going to be coming. With that being said, I want to talk a little bit today on winter preparedness. Are you ready for winter? I know with me living in the climate that I live in here, there's a few things that I have to do to get ready before it gets sure enough cold, so I can make sure I have my dogs water to them every day, make sure they've got good warm beds to sleep in, stuff like that. So we're going to hear a word from our sponsor for this week, and then after that, when I come back, we're going to talk getting ready for wintertime and just some things that I do, and just kind of a reminder that, hey, it's still warm out there, but something you need to be putting in the back of your mind. So we'll be right back. Are you looking for a dog with drive, heart, hustle, a natural owner? Let me introduce to you a dog that fits that bill and then some. One that can add that extra gear to your females and the natural independence we are all looking for. One that when you need that clutch moment, look no further than Grand Night Champion PR coming in clutch, owned by Rick and Zach Gravetti. You can contact them about breeding at 636-234-5062 or find them on Facebook. Grand Night Champion coming in clutch. Okay, so winter preparedness. What do we need to do? Well, probably if you live down south, kind of like where I used to live, you probably don't have to do quite as much as some of the rest of us do. There still may be a few things that you need to get ready for, but for me, like where I'm at now, I have a dog kennel that's inside. It's an old farmhouse, and it's an inside-outside kennel. The outside kennels I don't really have to do anything with, but I do with the inside kennels, and I probably don't have to do this, but I have larger than dog doors that go out to my outside kennels from the inside that allow my dogs to go back and forth, throughout the day. And I have covers that go over them to try to keep some of the wind out of the kennel, to help keep, things thawed out for as long as I can. That's probably the first thing I do, is put those covers on, get the dogs used to going back in and out of them. I take them off in the summertime, put them on every winter. They're not that big of a deal to put on. It's just an old rubber mat out of the bed of a truck that I cut up that I made these flap doors with. So it works great for what I use it for the time being. But years ago, I had above ground kennels that just had a roof over them that was all open on the sides. And in the wintertime, usually by the end of the winter, I had a tarp that I rolled down on the sides, halfway down the back, and covered up one side of the front, just to try to keep wind off the dogs as much as I could, and try to keep my bucket from freezing and stuff like that. And I'd have to go buy a tarp. At least one of the tarps would need to be replaced just about every year. And I was buying dollar store tarps. It wasn't very expensive. Just something as a wind barrier for that north wind when it's blowing. So, maybe you got above ground kennels, and maybe you need to do something like that. Maybe you have a different system set up, that works better for you. And maybe you live far enough south you don't have to do anything if you have above ground outside kennels. But that's what I do. Maybe you don't have to put a tarp on them at all. Maybe you got good dog houses that just need bedding. The bedding that I like to use, I've tried a numerous things. I've tried hay. I didn't like it. Tried straw. I didn't like it. I tried cedar chips. I love the smell, but it's a mess to clean up come spring. And what I've resorted to using is pine chips. They sell them here locally at the feed store. They're still a mess. They're a little bit bigger chip. The dogs don't seem to drag them out as bad of the barrels that I have. All my pens have barrels in them that I put those chips in, and the dogs seem to like them. And at the beginning of the winter, I use probably about a bag and a half. I really put them in there thick and heavy. And then I keep that bag in my kennel, and I'll just stand the barrels up on the end. I'll add some fresh chips to it, lay it back down, kind of shake it around, dogs get in there, and it seems to work. So that's what I use. I've tried some other things. If I ever get my kennel completely finished like I would like, the inside part will probably be heated in the winter. I've got some ideas for that, but that would be for a different episode. But as of right now, I put those chips in there, and they work. They're not my favorite, but they work. I know when I lived down south, pine straw was a big deal, and you can buy pine straw by the bales in the south. So, and pine straw works really good too. So, just some ideas, just some things to be thinking about. Hey, I don't know. For me, I have to kind of start collecting things ahead of time, so when it hits, I can be ready. Uh, in the summertime, I take all of that bedding out, wash it out, wash my kennels out, clean the barrels out, sterilize everything, and then they're good to go through the summer until we get back to winter. Another thing is water for the dogs. Brett probably has some other ideas. His kennels are outside, and um, he probably has some ideas to keep water from freezing. They make those buckets that have cords on them that you can plug up, and I have not used them to this point. When it gets cold and it stays cold for days on end, I can't get water to the dogs. I end up um, having to haul water, and what I do is I haul water I heated up on the stove or whatever to them, and dump in their buckets and defrost it, or try to dump their buckets out. And I always water bait my feed in the wintertime for every dog I have. So when they eat feed, they're drinking water. That way I make sure they're getting water in them. Something that you may want to do, you may want to consider if you live in a really cold climate. Maybe you already do it, but maybe you want to consider water baiting your dog's feed to make sure they're getting an adequate amount of liquid inside of them on a daily basis. I just bought Creeper back, and I'm I'm water baiting him right now. I always water baited him. It helps him stay cooler. The dog gets hot when he's treeing because he trees so hard, and so I water bait him year round, 24/7, 365. When he eats with water in his food. So those are some things to consider. They make these deals that you can sit your bucket on top of and plug them up. They're supposed to heat up. I've not used them. I can't speak for them. I know the buckets with the cords work good. You just got to make sure you get the cord where the dogs can get to it and chew on it. Heat lamps. I'm not a big fan of them because the dogs jump up and bump them and knock them down or break them or whatever. If you try to put them over the top of the buckets, I have used that before and they do work. But 3 heat lamps running will run your electric bill up too. So that's something to consider. As far as feed or anything like that, I don't really change feed, and I know we keep talking about it, but we're going to do a podcast talking about dog food, and some of this may come into play then, some of it may not. But we're going to talk about some different feeds and stuff like that. But for me, I don't really change my dog food from year to year. I'm still feeding Extreme Dog Fuel. They don't sponsor this podcast, but I feed it. I'm a dealer for them. I think it's good feed. Everybody that has went to it so far that I know like it. They like the results that they're seeing. I feed the 24/20 that comes in a 50-pound bag. I have real good results from it. My dogs look good on it. In the wintertime, I may have to feed just a little bit more to run them a little bit heavier than I do in the summer. With Creeper, from when I had him before and now, I run that dog probably just a grunt thinner than some of the other dogs because he will run hot on you even in the winter. So, um, those are some things to think about. I don't really think you need to change your feed, really. I mean, some guys do. Some guys want to change their mixture to a 30/20, or, maybe they feed a 26/18 and they want to step up. But me personally, I don't want to change my feed back and forth like that. You can with the dog food I feed without any side effects or upset stomachs or anything like that. Extreme Dog Fuel, you can go between mixtures pretty easily without any issues because I have done that, especially coming from puppies into what I consider older dogs. But I feed everything once they get older, 24/20, puppies 30/20. I think most everybody's feeding a 30/20, but there's several of us that are feeding a 24/20 as well. So you may have to give a little bit more feed. You just got to know your dog. We talked about this in the podcast when we were talking about for summertime and heat. You can go back and listen to that. And it still comes to the same thing when it comes to wintertime. You need to know your dog. What does your dog need for the winter? Some dogs take less, some dogs take more, some dogs don't require any change whatsoever. So you just have to know your dog and what you need to do with your dog as wintertime is coming. You also need to know what your kennel and your setup, and my big thing is blocking the north wind, which I don't have that problem. I have a wall on the north side of my kennel that helps with that, and I have doors on each end that I shut. And if it gets real bad cold and going to stay cold for a long time, I have a torpedo heater that I will set up in the front side of my kennels and blow it down kind of through the kennel to put some heat through there to help keep stuff, defrosted and help keep the dogs warm if it gets really cold. And I know it's going to stay cold for a long time. In the future, I hope to change that up and actually have a building that's heated, so I don't have to worry about that and can just run a heater in there. But for now, that's what I do. I have just I think it's a rigid propane torpedo heater. They make ones that run off diesel, and I think any of them would work, but it puts out a fair amount of heat and enough that you could be up there with a light jacket or even just a long sleeve shirt on in that kennel. So with that being said, some other things that you might want to think about is if you don't have water out to your kennels like me. I have everything here, just ain't had time to bury the line to get water around up there. I have a water hose stretched across the yard. Make sure you're unhooking that water hose, or at least I do. Let the water drain out of it, as I finish every day, so I don't have to deal with a frozen hose. And for a long time, even when it's getting cold at night, I can get water to my dogs. So, you know, that's some things to think about if you have water at your kennels. Maybe there's some things that you need to do with your spigots or whatever. Make sure they're took care of so you can get water to them. Otherwise, you're going to be toting water to them. Just make sure you're taking care of your dogs. You want to make sure that they have everything they need as far as feed and water and stuff like that. Make sure they have the bedding that they need, whatever works for you in your climate. When I lived down south, I never hardly put bedding in there unless it got really, really cold. I'd go buy a bale of pine straw and put in their houses if it was going to get cold and stay cold. But I lived in a climate that it might get cold for 2 or 3 days and then it may be back to 75, 80 degrees during the day. So I didn't really have to worry about that as much as I do now. So, just some things to think about as we're coming out of September, going into October. We know it's coming. Winter's coming. It's going to get colder. So just be ready. I just wanted to put this out there. I was wanting to do this a few weeks ago, and Brett's been off on his Walker Dog adventures. I was going to do it with him, and it's just kind of drug around, and I feel like I just need to get it out there more as a reminder to help you kind of think, oh yeah, it is. Because I don't know if y'all are like me. It's like I looked up and it's the last week of September. It seems like yesterday was the first week of May. So this summer's kind of went by really, really fast for me, and it's kind of crept up on me here, and I'm trying my best to get my stuff together so I can be ready. And I thought I would just put this out there today as a reminder to help y'all get ready for the winter time that's coming. Our kill season has started here in Missouri. I've got a young dog here that y'all heard me talk about, and I'm going to touch on dogs here for just a minute. My bell female, she come in heat on me. She's went out now, so her and Creeper is what I'm going to hunt. I'm going to competition hunt Creeper and hopefully have Belle ready to hunt by the end of kill season. She'll be going like she's supposed to. We'll see how that goes, but I'm still hunting just the English dogs right now. I do not have the Walker dog anymore as of right now. Just those two. We'll see if something else pops up as the year goes on. But that's my plan, is to just hunt those two for now. And I had, before I bought Creeper back, I had bred him to a female that did not take. If something comes in heat that I can breed him to, I probably will, just to get a puppy out of him to see how he's going to reproduce, if he is at all. He's not been bred but the one time, and I don't. It wasn't his fault. We know that for sure. So she didn't take. But anyway, that's what I got for you this week, guys. Hopefully this gives you a reminder to get ready. Winter's coming. It's an exciting time. We're fixing to be cooler. You're gonna feel like getting out, going hunting. But don't forget about, when you go into the warm house, your dog needs to be took care of too. Not saying they have to have central heat and air, but there's a few things that they do need, and you need to be prepared to make sure they have it. So with that being said, I'm going to get off here. Appreciate y'all tuning in this week. Make sure you stay in tune with the Facebook page. I'm going to be posting about the upcoming interview that I'm going to do with a gentleman, and trust me, you are going to want to hear this interview. We're talking big name dogs that's done a lot of winning, dogs that he trained, hunted, got started, and then sold, and then they went on to do big things. So just make sure you are following the Coonhound Collective Facebook page. I'm going to be dropping information on there here in the next week or so on that, and getting that information out to you so you'll know to be watching for it. Share this podcast on all your social medias. Send those Apple reviews in. I'll get them read here on air. We're up to date so far on them, so I appreciate everybody that's commented, sent an email, sent a text. Appreciate the few that I've got on it being a clean podcast. We do try to keep it clean, so you don't have to worry about turning the volume up and down when your wife or kids are in the vehicle. So with that being said, I'm going to get off here. I've rambled enough. Y'all have heard me enough. So I will see y'all next week. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast, or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.